Alright guys, welcome back. We've got a giant balance patch today. A lot of monsters changed, a lot of nerfs, a lot more nerfs than we normally see. So we're going to go through them and talk about maybe how they'll affect the meta, what other monsters may rise and fall with these changes. So let's go ahead and get started. First off, Skydancer, the Yeon getting the nerf. It's a good nerf. It needed it. Its win rate was high. It was able to basically go infinite. You would see people playing them at high level, feeling confident that they could 1v2 at the end of matches, and they were correct. Still a great unit, still going to be super effective. It might introduce some interesting play with cooldown reducing units, like a Jemire or something like that, to give her a little bit better of a cooldown if they want that back, the users. But it's still OP. It's a stripper, it's a healer, it's a bar booster, it does everything you want it to do. So I don't think it'll affect it that much. I think if you have it, you're still happy. You're probably happy it didn't get hit more, and it should still give you a good win rate. Dragon Knight, the evil Dragon Knight. We already saw this before. The attack bar has reduced from 20 to 15%. Still broken, you know? It was like when they nerfed the Wind Panda, the attack bar from the Wind Panda. Everyone still gets the same effect out of the Wind Panda. It's just you might be able to beat it a little bit versus never being able to beat it. So I think this is still going to be really great. I would be surprised if this nerf brings his win rate down significantly. He still does a lot of great things, so not a big deal, but I'm glad to see it's moving in the right direction. The next one's interesting, Hathor, which, I mean, Hathor is really, really strong, so I think this is a justified nerf. And it basically takes one full attack bar off. So it went from decreases all attack bars by 75%. You know, she keeps the 2-turn sleep, which is good by itself. You could get rid of the attack bar reduce, and the 2-turn sleep would still be pretty good. You might not pick her in every situation you need CC. You might pick some other things, but 2-turn sleep is still really good. So we went from 75% at all enemies. So if you assume an RTA match, that's 75% attack bar times 4 units. So that's about 3 full attack bars, right? 75, 1.5, 1.5 times 2 is 3. So 3 full attack bars plus 2-turn sleep. So what, 8 plus 3 is 11 full attack bars if you get them all. Now it's attack 1 by 100%, or decrease 1 by 100%, and everybody else gets 30. So it goes from 3 full attack bars to 1 plus 3 30s, so 1.9 attack bars. So still really good, right? I mean, it's 8, it's 9.9 attack bars versus 11 attack bars. So I mean, it's still really good. Don't freak out, Hathor users. You're still okay. Fire Panda buff doesn't matter. Dark Panda. Don't know enough about Dark Panda to really say what's going on here. It's clearly going to be a buff. You might see Dark Pandas. You might see Dark Panda users using him more often, but decreases incoming damage by 35%, increases the damage dealt by 50% if the enemy has lower attack power than yours, recovers HP. So give him a violent set, make it a passive. They love pandas, you know, so maybe he'll be viable. All right, moving on into the Fairy King side of things. This one is interesting, and it's a big old nerf on all Fairy Kings. First skill, no longer a buff remover, no longer a stripper. It's now a glance. It gives glance. Yay, glance. So you can't just count on your Ganny if they ban out your other buff removers. This is a buff to double immunity, which is good because a lot of people the double immunity users have been sad because they've introduced Elsharian and stuff like that. So it's kind of nice. It's helpful in arena defense against the water Fairy King. It's great in RTA against Ganymede. It's another little Ganymede nerf. Poor Ganymede. Keep getting nerfs. But, you know, Ganny Hathor is really strong. They got to do something about it. So this is what they're doing. So the buff remover is gone. You got to figure out another buff remover, people. It's something you got to figure out now. Ganny cannot be relied upon. Okay. Fairy King Fire. Let's look at this thing, I guess. He removes all beneficial effects on the enemy. So he became a full target stripper with his Hellfire skill. He still decreases his own HP, decreases the enemy HP. Inflicts great damage and creates a shield. So it's now a single target buff removal. That's good. I don't know if it's good enough to be usable, but it might be able to one-shot things because of the HP reduce and the massive damage. So we'll see. It's a step in the right direction. It might be a huge step. It's hard to tell until we see it in action. Fairy King Dark. Okay. So they buffed Fairy King Dark. Thought it was already pretty good, but now it's better, so yay. Alright, Paladin Wind, clearly a buff. Attack bar from 35% to 100% down. That's seems really good. I mean, that's on Justice Strike. That seems really, really good. Wow. I mean, that seems really, really strong, doesn't it? I mean, every time it attacks with its first skill, it 100% decreases the attack bar. We'll have to see how that plays out, but I think we're going to see some of those in RTA. That's fantastic, it seems like. Alright, Paladin Light. Recovers HP when you attack during your turn. So this is the Almond special, it looks like to me. No more revenge healing for Paladin Light. So, makes sense. It was pretty strong. So you might see less revenge builds, just because you're not going to heal. But on the plus side, I think you'll still stun. So, it's still pretty good. But it's a little nerf. They're nerfing, they basically looked at someone's tier list, and they're like, aha, what does 3 S's mean? Okay, we're going to nerf everything with 3 S's, and that'll balance things. So, that's what they're doing, which, not a horrible way to do it. Let other people do the work for you in terms of figuring out who's good and who's bad, and then just nerf them all a little bit. I mean, I'm sure they have internal data and stuff, but, you know, nerf all the triple S's, right? That's the plan. Alright, Hell Lady Water. This is the Beth. Destroys the enemy's max HP by 50% of the inflicted damage. 2. Destroys the enemy's max HP by the amount of damage inflicted by the second attack. Inflicted damage increased by 8%. So, it's a destroy buff, I guess? The second attack has to hit really hard, but it destroys 100% versus 50% of the total damage. I can't imagine it's a giant buff, but maybe. So yay, more destroy. Monkey King, Water and Light. Attacks the enemies, decrease the attack bar by 30%. Absorbs the attack bar by 30% when the enemies are under harmful attacks. 2. Attacks the enemies and stuns them for 1 turn with a 75% chance. Increases your attack bar by 25% per stunned enemy after each attack. I mean, I don't know. I don't know enough about it. It seems like a buff. Did I miss? I feel like I missed talking about Molong. Where's Molong? Yeah, wait. Let's go talk about Molong. Dragon's Dance. I was like, I should have talked about this. So, this is a Molong nerf. Back to the triple S nerfs, I assume. From each strike has a 15% chance to remove a beneficial effect, which, when skilled up, is 25%. So it goes from each of the 3, 15% chance to remove, 15% chance to stun with skill ups, to the third attack to remove beneficial effects and stuns them for 1 turn with a 25% chance each. So this to me means the first 2 attacks do nothing other than AoE damage, that's HP scaling, and the third attack is 1 chance to remove and stun, which moves it up to a 40% chance 1 time versus what it used to be was a 25% chance 3 times. That's how I'm reading that. Maybe they leave some of the stun or some of the beneficial effect removal in the first 2 strikes, but to me that doesn't seem to be the case. So he still gives you what you want from him, but the odds of it happening are quite decreased. So a nice little baby nerf. You're less likely to get full AoE stunned by Molong, but yeah, I mean, it's another little nerf there. Alright, let's move to the Beast Monks. Fire. So they fixed him a little bit. He now is full beneficial effect removal on skill 1, which is great versus continuing damage. So that's really, really nice. That gives him a place. He's now the buff removing Beast Monk, right? And then his other skill, from HP recovery, which is not great, to silence. 2-turn silence. AoE 2-turn silence. So that's great. Buff remover, 2-turn silence. Bruiser with the heal? I mean, pretty good. Pretty good. Alright, Sea Emperor. This is a nice buff here. Water, Wind, and Light. Silence switch from 1 to 2 turns. So they keep the silence, but now it's a 2-turn silence. Much better. Much, much better. Thank you. Good job. Makes Light not awful. Makes Water quite strong, because Water already has bar reduce and now has a silence. I think makes Wind pretty strong in Arena Offense. Maybe RTA. Maybe. Because he's got a full buff remove, a bar pushback, and now a silence. So, pretty good. Alright. Dragon Light redistributes the HP of all allies and enemies before inflicting damage. So, I think this is a buff. Kind of. Because you're redistributing everything's an equal amount of HP, and then you slam them really hard with that skill. It does it to your team too, which I think is good. I mean, it's good. The dragon's going to be soaking up some of that HP, but it's a fringe monster that not many people have, so whatever. All right, Phoenix Wind increases the attack bar by 20% per defeated enemy. Yep, that's really good. Wow, all dungeon runs got better. Fire Pioneer. This is Chiwu. You recover 5 HP for every beneficial effect removed. 2. Decrease every attack bar by 15% per beneficial effect removed. Wow. So, that is now better than Triton for Shield Will? Because Shield Will will be 30%. Triton's is a flat 25%. But it doesn't care how many buffs you have. I don't know. I think this makes Chiwu better than Triton for Shield Will, because it's a 30%. But not as good against regular Will. So, okay. That's a thing. Polar Queen Water freezes the target for 1 turn with a 15% chance. That's great. Gives her a freeze. And now we're into the Nat 4s. Pirate Captain Fire. You can detonate a bomb and take another turn. So you detonate the bomb, you defense break, or you stun. It's a buff. It's good. If you used him, it's good. I don't know if it's good enough to make him a thing, but it's a buff. Mermaid Fire. If your HP is 50% or lower, stuns the enemy for 1 to 2 turns. So that's significant. It's risky because you're going to 50% or lower HP, but a 2-turn stun is fantastic. I'm trying to think if there's a way to. Oh, I know what they're gonna do. So the people that do things where they can adjust their own HP bar are going to adjust the mermaid's HP bar and then stun for 2 turns, maybe. I'm thinking like Vivichel or something. But if you have a Vivichel, you probably have better things than a Fire Mermaid. Yeah. Anyway, nice little buff there. Water Mermaid. Passive skill now. Before, it was a 1-turn AoE sleep that was a skill. Now, reduces the time of all harmful effects, except ability effects, granted on all allies by 1 turn, and recover the ally with the lowest HP status by 10% every turn. So, it's now Veramos? No, it's not Veramos, because Veramos is a full remove. This is a reduction by 1 of harmful effects, and a little bit of a heal. Interesting. So, I like the little auto heal. Those auto heals are nice. The fact that you don't have to click a skill is also nice. The fact that it doesn't affect inability effects is somewhat unfortunate. But it's going to help with defense breaks and stuff like that. You could maybe put her on Nemesis and use her against Fire Pony. I don't know. Anyway, a little bit of a buff. Not enough to really do anything, I can't imagine. Let's see here. Verd buff. 2-turn attack, or it attacks twice now. So yay, Verd is now fixed. I will give 1 more vampire to my Verd, because now they all do the same in terms of attack bar buffing. That's nice too, because it gives him a little bit of a damage, not a damage buff, but you can do more damage with the second skill than you can with the first skill, and now you don't lose the beneficial effect of the attack bar. So for people that wanted to use him in RTA, for instance, it's a buff for his attack bar buffing. It's good for the light vampire too, because those light vampires, they're already great. And well, I guess it's maybe just like totally the same. It might affect the stun chance, maybe. I don't know how they work, but he's not given an attack bar, so ignore that. All right, water vampire, bats, lots of bats. The damage increases if you are less wounded. Less wounded. After attacks all enemies 5 times, damage increases as the enemy's HP status decreases. So it hits a whole bunch of times, and it gets better and better and better. Good for Necro, hits 5 times. So maybe he's a Necro monster now. Don't know. Alright, Cobalt Fire. Immediately sets off the bomb if the enemy has bombs. So it's a Sierra move, right? Everybody now can detonate bombs and build a bomb AO if they want. You don't get a bomb with it with Sierra, so Sierra's still better, but it gives an AoE detonate that did not used to be a thing. So wow, that's nice. Undine Water, wow. Or Wind, Undine Wind gets a buff. Already pretty good. A 10% increase in healing. Might be enough to make her everybody's immunity resetter of choice. Maybe. But it's pretty good. Alright, Death Knight Fire. Extortion disturbs the HP recovery. That's kind of nice, actually. Because he's got HP disturb on his 1, and now he's got it on his 3 with his nuke. And it's pretty good. A lot of this is pretty good. It's all the buffs are pretty good. And all the nerfs are not gonna make anyone rage, you know, which is kind of nice. All right, Epicom Priest. Oh my goodness, look at this wall of text. Extends the time of beneficial effects and shortens the time of harmful effects. Okay. Extends the time of beneficial effects. Shortens the time of harmful effects. Recovers their HP by 10% each. The recovery amount increases by 5% per harmful effect or beneficial effect granted on the allies. Okay, so the best part of this is it no longer scales on attack power, right? That is the best part of that. So now it's just a flat 10%, and it gets better based on all the crazy things going on. The amount of buffs and the amount of debuffs. Interesting. Good for Tartarus, right? I don't think it makes it viable anywhere else, but it's a pretty good first reviver now that it's not scaling off attack power. Alright, Epicon Priest Fire. Don't know enough about that to know about it. That's a long cooldown though, so must be a good skill. Who knows? And then the imps. All the imp champions get a buff. So we'll look at them. Increases continuous damage to 100% chance. That's good. Fire one inflicts continuous damage for 2 turns to 3 turns if you get a critical hit. So 3 turns dot. For the water one, inflicts continuous damage for 1 turn if the skill didn't ignore defense. That doesn't seem great, but who knows? It's definitely a buff. If you miss the ignore, you get a dot. Wind stuns the enemy with a 100% chance if you get a crit. I mean, that's good. Build full crit, stun things. And then light, before attacks the enemy, recovers the amount of inflicted damage, gets a turn if your HP is full. 2, attacks the enemy, creates a shield that's proportionate to the damage dealt, gets another turn if you get a critical hit. So that's better, because now you don't have to be at full HP, you just get a crit and go twice. That's pretty good. That makes him, he's already somewhat dangerous for RTA. That's just going to help him turn cycle a little bit more. So that might be the only one that's significant. And then the dark one gets the continuous damage. Okay, and then they change things. I don't think this matters at all, does it? I don't think so. No. Okay, so that's the patch. Whole bunch is going to change next season. It'll make some more viable picks, right? You won't necessarily have to go boom 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 with your first whatever picks. We might see Molong's first pick rate decrease, probably not, but you could. He still does a lot. Hathor is going to be nerfed. Immunity is going to get a little bit of a buff. So overall, a good patch. A couple monsters get a little bit more play, and yeah. So good job, Contuous. I think it's great. If you guys have any thoughts or comments about the patch, or if I screwed up horribly reading or processing something, that's also possible. So feel free to let me know. And yeah, I'll catch y'all next time. Take care, everybody.